You can understand, but you cannot speak English. Why? Have you ever felt that you understand English really well, but when it comes to speaking, you just can't get the words out? You can watch movies, listen to songs, or follow the news in English. But when it's your turn to speak, everything seems to freeze. You're not alone. This is a challenge that many people face when learning English. So, why does this happen? Why is it so easy to understand, but so hard to speak? Is there a secret to overcoming this fear? Let's dive in and explore how you can go from just understanding English to speaking it confidently. The challenge: why speaking feels hard. When learning a language, there are two key skills: understanding and speaking. Understanding is when you hear or read something and get the meaning. This part is usually easier for most learners. Speaking, on the other hand, requires you to do more than just understand. It's about recalling words, using grammar correctly, and speaking in real time, which can feel stressful. For many people, the biggest obstacle is the fear of making mistakes. When you try to speak, you might think, what if I say it wrong? What if they don't understand me? This fear of making mistakes can stop you from speaking, even when you know the words. And that's exactly why so many people understand English, but struggle to speak it. But guess what? The secret to overcoming this fear is simpler than you think. The power of practice. Speak, even if you're not perfect. If you want to speak English fluently, the key is practice, and practicing often. But here's the good news: it doesn't matter if you're not perfect. In fact, the more mistakes you make, the better you'll get. Just like learning to ride a bike. You're not going to be perfect right away. You'll fall, get up, and keep going. And that's exactly how learning a language works. One simple way to practice is to speak to yourself in English. It might feel weird at first, but it really works. Start small. Talk about what you're doing: I'm making breakfast, or I'm going for a walk. The point is to get used to saying things out loud. Over time, you'll get better at forming sentences and expressing yourself. But there's something even more important than practice: listening. Listening, the secret to speaking naturally. Listening is a huge part of learning to speak. You can't speak well unless you listen well. When you listen to English, whether through songs, movies, podcasts, or conversations, you're not just hearing words. You're learning the rhythm, tone, and flow of the language. You're getting used to how sentences are structured and how words sound when spoken naturally. The more you listen, the easier it will be to speak. You'll start to recognize the words before you even say them. It's like your brain is preparing you to speak without you even realizing it. So, make it a habit to listen to English every day. The more you listen, the more comfortable speaking will become. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. One of the biggest fears people have when speaking English is making mistakes. But let me tell you this, mistakes are your friends. The more mistakes you make, the more you learn. Each time you speak and realize you made a mistake, you understand the language better. So, stop worrying about being perfect. Focus on communicating your ideas. Speaking isn't about getting every word right, it's about being understood. And the more you practice, the better you'll get at getting your point across. Small steps. Big progress. Let's take a look at someone named Sam. Sam understands English perfectly. But he's always nervous to speak. At first, he starts by talking to himself at home, saying simple sentences. Slowly, Sam begins to feel more comfortable. He starts speaking a little faster, and his words flow more easily. One thing that really helped Sam was listening to English stories. He found stories that inspired him, about people overcoming their fears or achieving their dreams. By listening to these stories, Sam felt more connected to the language, and his confidence grew. This is the magic of repetition. The more you practice, the more your brain starts to remember. Soon, speaking won't feel so hard. Reading and writing, extra tools to help you speak. Reading and writing are also great tools for improving your speaking. When you read in English, you get used to how sentences are put together. You see how words are used. And you get familiar with the grammar. The more you read, the more you'll know how to express yourself when it's your turn to speak. Writing can also help. Keeping a journal in English is a fantastic way to practice. You can write about your day, your thoughts, or even tell a story. Writing helps you think in English. And this makes it easier when you try to speak. Patience, the key to fluency. Sam's journey wasn't always easy. There were days when he felt frustrated and wanted to give up. But he kept reminding himself of his goal, to speak English fluently. And little by little, all the hard work started to pay off. Learning English isn't about rushing. It's about being patient with yourself. Each small step you take brings you closer to your goal. Don't give up. Even if progress seems slow, keep going. And you will get there. Conclusion, keep going. Keep speaking. So, what's the big takeaway from all of this? The secret to speaking English fluently is simple: practice every day. Don't be afraid of mistakes. And listen often. Start small. Speak to yourself. And listen to English regularly. With each word spoken, with each sentence formed, you're one step closer to speaking English confidently. It won't happen overnight. But with dedication and patience, you will improve. Don't worry about being perfect, just focus on getting better each day. Soon, speaking English will feel as natural as speaking your own language.